Hello, Marblehead, and welcome to Up for Discussion, the award-winning program where we explore the issues you will be talking about around town. This is our 88th edition of Up for Discussion, another virtual program from our homes to yours via Zoom. We welcome to our panel Chris Stevens of the Marblehead Reporter, Will Dowd of the Swampscott Reporter and Salem Gazette, Anthony Silva, WBZ News retired, and a special guest, Finance Committee Chair Ben Berman. Living is closer to coming to Marblehead, we think, with the Mariner clearing the state's Court of Appeals. So Chris, I know these appeals decisions are rife with legal speak. Can you tell us in layman's term what the Court of Appeals said?
What I love about Joseph Stanton's opinion on this case is that it's all legalese, it's all laid out the way you would expect it to be. But when it gets to when he actually gives his opinion is like, yes, I agree, or we see no error. I mean, his opinion could not be more simple. They sided with Pleasant Street LLC and everything. So the main argument for the main argument against the Mariner in this case, and it was down, by the way, it was down to, I know that a lot of people in the neighborhood had originally filed lawsuits and were sort of seeing this through. This final appeal was down to just two complaints. It was Mancuso, so Lisa and Phil Mancuso. And their main argument was that the ZBA, when the ZBA reconsidered the project, they violated state law, which says if the ZBA denies a project, the Zoning Board of Appeals denies a project, a developer can't bring that same project back within 2 years unless there are, what do they call it, specific and material changes. And they argued that the ZBA heard this case again, hadn't been 2 years, and there were no specific and material changes, not that fit the parameters of the law. And Pleasant Street LLC didn't dispute it. They were like, nope, you're absolutely right. We didn't do this. But what they argued was that the case was actually remanded by the lower court to go back to the ZBA. Therefore, it wasn't a new hearing. It was just all one continuous thing. So the court said, it's not a new hearing. They didn't so therefore they didn't violate anything. And Stanton upheld that opinion. Stanton said, I agree. They did not violate it because it wasn't a new hearing. That was their main argument. The
second go-around was a different ZBA. I mean, a couple of different members, right?
A couple of different members, but they cleared that. They didn't even bring that. They didn't broach that this time. That was a big one. That was a big argument in maybe 1 or 2 lawsuits.
Superior Court.
No. Yeah. But that did not come up in Superior. That did not come up in this appeals court. The appeals court was over. It was that, and there was another issue where they thought the plaintiffs had thought that they should have been allowed to, what is it? I'm sorry, I'm reading my notes. They should have been able to offer the board's testimony at the trial, even though that is like a no-no. That's like never accepted. And they knew that, the Mancusos knew that going in, but they argued that there was such sufficient evidence of improper behavior by the ZBA that they should have been allowed to offer that testimony. And again, Stanton just said, no, we don't. He just said, I don't see an error by the lower court, so we're going to uphold the lower court ruling, which was in favor of, again, which is in favor of Pleasant Street. So
the opposition is really narrowed down to 2 people.
Yeah, that was all that was named. The only 2 names on this suit was Lisa Mancuso was the primary, and it said one other party. And when I looked it up, it was Phil. It was her husband. That's it. All the other neighbors have dropped off.
I don't know what happened to the other neighbors. I mean, they were just as vociferous.
Yeah, they had dropped off a little bit. I thought on this final appeal that there were a few other neighbors, but not according to the paperwork. There isn't.
Wow. So
is there still room for an appeal?
They could take it to the state superior court, I suppose. Yeah. I reached out to the Mancusos, but I've not heard back from them. So I was
going to ask, have you heard anybody? Yeah. Is there any murmur of an appeal?
No, I haven't heard anything. I haven't heard from Michael Lafayette. That's usually my go-to, my contact with LLC. He has not given me a heads up on anything. So, and the last time I spoke with them, they are just waiting for the weather to change and they are ready to move forward.
The builders are ready to go.
He said they were putting everything in place. As soon as the weather cleared, they were gonna start, they'll have to demolish the buildings and get the property ready.